There's a way to repurpose your LinkedIn content so that you can generate 20 pieces of content from just one post in 30 minutes or less. And I'm going to go through that with you in this particular video. Now, the first thing to think about is the fact that you're creating new content every day, and it can take a long time to create each post. When you consider the brainstorming, the writing, the editing, the posting, it can start to add up, and that can create a bit of a flywheel, which can lead to either burnout or it just not feeling sustainable. But the great news is, you don't actually need to create new content every day. You can actually repurpose some of what you've already created. And so really the premise of content repurposing is taking one piece of content and then transforming it into multiple formats. So for example, one LinkedIn post could become a carousel, a video, an email, a Twitter thread, a newsletter edition, a podcast topic, and even more. So it's the same message, but it's different formats. So that enables you to maximize the ROI of every piece of content that you create. Now, with all of that said, the way that you go about doing this is because first and foremost, it saves time. So 30 minutes to repurpose one post into 20 pieces versus hours and hours to create 20 new pieces of content. The second thing is that it reaches different audience, because some people might prefer video, some prefer text, some might like a carousel. Repurposing basically lets you reach everyone in different, basically where they like to be met. And the third thing is it reinforces your message, because repetition builds authority. So the more people that see your message in different formats, the more they're likely to remember you. And fourth, it maximizes ROI because you get 20 times the value from one single piece of content. And that's why it works so well. So here are 20 different ways that you can repurpose one post. I've listed them all out on screen so you can see exactly how they would work. So take a second, you can even pause the video, have a little look through them, and then we're going to expand on some of these as we go through the rest of the course of this video. Now, the first step to actually then action on this is to start with a high performing post. So look at your last 20 posts and find the one with the highest engagement. This contains likes, comments, shares, saves, and this is going to be your hero post. This is the one that you're going to focus on repurposing. And the reason for that is because it's already resonated with your audience. So you're not guessing, you're doubling down on what actually works. The second step is then to repurpose for LinkedIn, and there's 5 formats for doing that. Again, I've listed them on screen. You've got your carousel, you've got your video, you've got a poll, a newsletter edition, and also a comment template. So it gives you 5 different pieces of content, all from one single post on LinkedIn. Now, the third step is then to repurpose for other platforms. So there's 5 more formats that I've listed out here where you can create an X thread, an email newsletter, maybe an Instagram post or a YouTube short, as well as a blog post as well. So again, this is the same message, but different platforms with a different format. And then the fourth step is to repurpose into visual content. So I've listed here 5 visual formats. So you can have something like a quote graphic or an infographic, an Instagram story or TikTok video, or a presentation slide. So again, it's 5 more pieces of content, same message, but this time in visual formats. Then you've got the 5th step, which is where you can repurpose into engagement tools. So here's different formats you can consider for that. A podcast episode, a case study, a frequently asked questions post, a client testimonial angle, or a DM template. Again, I've listed all of these on screen. So any that feel more and more relevant, you can pause for a second, take note of them, actually read through what I've listed there, and then you can go ahead and actually action those. So here's another 5 pieces. Again, same message, but based on engagement tools. Now, the way you can go about doing this in just 30 minutes, right, is in the first 5 minutes, identify your hero post. So find that highest performing post. And then between minutes 5 to 15, create 5 LinkedIn formats. So this might be a carousel, a video, a poll, newsletter, or comment. And in the next section, create 5 cross-platform formats. So this might be a thread, an email, an Instagram, YouTube short, or a blog. And then in the final segment, then you actually schedule and batch the content using a scheduling tool. So you can see in just basically 30 minutes or there or thereabouts, you could create 10 pieces of content, especially once you get into the flow of actually becoming efficient with how to go about doing this. And you can create all 20 formats over the course of a week if you're organized and structured in the way that you go about doing it. Now, there's some tools that can help you along the way with this. First of all, Canva, to help you to create carousels, graphics, infographics, things like that, because they've got templates to help that. You've then got a tool called Descript where you can turn text into video with AI, and you don't have to actually record anything. You've then got ChatGPT where you can rewrite your posts for different platforms. So you can ask it to turn a LinkedIn post into a Twitter thread, for example. And then you've got tools like Buffer or Hootsuite where you can schedule across different platforms. So you can basically post once and then distribute across all of your social media accounts. And then you've got repurpose.io where you can automate video repurposing. So you upload once and then it will distribute to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and more. So these tools can basically make the repurposing process even faster. And then to multiply, here's a formula you can leverage. So you've got your one hero post each week. You spend up to an hour creating it, then repurpose that into 20 pieces of content. So spend 30 minutes on the repurposing, and the result will be 20 pieces of content each week from about 90 minutes of work. Compare that to 20 hours creating 20 new pieces from scratch. You're working 13 times more efficiently, and that's the power of repurposing. Now, some of the mistakes I want to make sure that you avoid is the first thing is repurposing low performing content. You really want to focus on repurposing your hero post. That's content that has already resonated. The second thing is copy pasting the same content everywhere. Try and adapt for each platform because Twitter needs threads, Instagram needs visuals. They all have their different ways of going about things. The third mistake is not tracking which formats perform best. So make sure you track your results and double down on what actually works. And then make sure you repurpose what works, right? Adapt for each platform and track your results. And when you go about doing this, you're going to save a ton of time. You'll start to reach people across different platforms and you'll reinforce your message while building authority because repetition builds trust. So the more people that see your message, the more they're likely to remember you. So you end up working smarter and not harder. And this is the power of having a content repurposing system. Now, this is a small part of what we typically cover here at Influx at our agency, where we work with our clients to help them to generate qualified leads on autopilot through LinkedIn, guaranteeing them at least $50,000 in net new pipeline within 90 days or less. So if something like that's of interest to you, I'm going to leave a link in the description box below of this video for you to check out. And as you go through that, it will walk you through exactly how we go about doing this with our clients, including content repurposing and more. So again, check out the link I've left in the description box below of this video. And if you found this particular video helpful as well, please do take a second to hit the like button, leave a thoughtful comment, to share it with someone that you know, and also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next bit of content. Again, hope you find it helpful. I'll see you on the next one.